Dear brothers, it's about quality, not quantity.
So guys, it should be your conversation, the way you flow, your presence is enough for a woman to want to be around you, not how much money you spend.
Dear sisters, it's about knowing your value.
My sisters out there, don't be afraid to scare a guy off just because you have standards.
Dear brothers, dear sisters, it's time to come together.
Hey, welcome to another edition of DBDS Live. I'm your host, Mel Money, and I'm here with my brother, my DBDS partner, personal life coach, Carl. How you feeling today, my brother?
Awesome, man. It's another weekend coming to an end. It goes by too fast, but weather's good. Life is treating us as best we can do. So I tell people, no need to complain. It don't work.
Absolutely, man. Nice, man. Listen, I just want to share with the audience. I just had like this amazing vacation with my loved ones. We end up going to Block Island, which is part of Rhode Island. And if you've never been there, my people, I highly recommend for everyone to check it out. It was such an amazing experience to tour the island on some scooters with my oldest daughter, to listen to some live music, to have food served to you on the beach. It was such an amazing experience. The only thing I would have to maybe complain about was the hot sand. You had to run across that sand to get to the water. But other than that, it was such an amazing weekend.
Yeah, you guys have been having some heat up there the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's been hitting us, brother. It's been hitting us. Another thing that I'm excited about as well is the Dear Brothers, Dear Sisters website. It is coming soon, and this site will be dedicated to help you to become a better you, a better version of yourself, so you can obtain and maintain a healthy monogamous relationship. Anything you want to add, Carl?
Look, I'm gonna say it just like this, folks. If you're looking for the beginning, you just come out of a relationship, you're looking to get into a relationship, you're in a relationship, and you wanted to get better, everything is there. We'll show you how to go through the healing steps. It's going to have stuff on it to tell you how to increase your value system to find the right mate. It's going to teach you how to even fix your relationships to a point, and there's going to be coaching, tons of videos. I'm excited. I'm telling you, it's going to be. I'm going to speak in existence. The number one website out there that deals with relationships, especially for the African American community. There's just not a lot of stuff out there. We need the anti-reality TV relationship show, and that's exactly what this is going to be.
Absolutely. It's going to be a phenomenal site, man, with everything all in one location, which consists of the blogs with valuable information, the free content from certified credible people with stern advice, the affordable coaching sessions and courses, a dating site for relationship ready people. You can even get yourself a DBDS shirt right here. What Carl and I is wearing. You can get that. You see that? You want to listen, that shirt, you put that on your back, telling you're representing a whole lot of different things, just indicating that you want to become a better version of yourself. And that's what the site is geared towards. Also, another gem that is available right now that you don't even have to wait for the site. You can get yourself a copy of Dear Brothers, Dear Sisters, Listen Up. But if you order this book through our website, when it is announced, you will get a signed copy from yours truly. And this is another gem that will help you in your current state, whether you're looking for a relationship, whether you're trying to better yourself. But it will help you as long as you're willing to invest in yourself. Okay. So with that being said, today's show is titled Qualities That Will Make You Less Desirable as a Woman. What do you think about this topic today, Carl?
Wow. I tell you, it's almost like a part two to the qualities and traits of a feminine woman. But it's definitely a conversation we've had them about, talking about the men and where we're at. And the only way we're going to get to a place of healthy relationships is bringing up the things that show accountability and hear from other people who are saying, hey, this is the stuff we're hearing, especially when you have 3 coaches on the night we're going to have, and yourself, another coach. So they get to hear what we're hearing from the masses. And it's not just, this is my personal experience. So this is going to be a good show tonight. I think it'll help a lot of women to even increase their value after tonight and begin to position themselves to be found by the right man.
Yeah, very well said. I always say that feminine energy is extremely attractive and it's powerful. My sisters is very powerful. All you have to do is just embrace it, tap in, and trust me, if that's your dominant energy, it will attract the right kind of man in your life. Listen, before we bring our guests into the studio, here's go one of our very supportive, loving sisters.
Said I want a shirt. Link to order.
Listen, my sister, we got you on that DBDS shirt. We got you. Absolutely. So, you ready for today's show call? You ready for this, man?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Man, that's what I'm talking about, man. So, the first person coming into the DBDS live studio, this is her first time here, and she is on the other side of the world, but she's here to drop some nuggets, and I'm very grateful for her to come on. My sister, Stefania, welcome to DBDS Live.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Tramal and Carl. It's absolutely an honor to be on your show. And I am truly grateful, and I want to acknowledge you for just such an amazing job and platform that you've put out there for the whole world globally. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you, my sister. Appreciate the compliment, and we appreciate you. So tell the people a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and why you're on the show today.
All right. So as you know, my name's Stefania Puleo, and I'm from Australia. I'm not sure if you've had guests from Australia. Have you had anyone from Australia yet?
You're the first one.
Wow. So I'm in Melbourne, and I am a men's love and relationship coach and hypnotherapist. And I basically work with men, and I help men not only attract women or attract a value-matched woman, but also understand how a woman thinks, understand female energy, and to keep her, because it's quite easy to attract her, but actually keeping her, I think, is where the struggle sometimes comes in. Keeping her in a passionate, loving, sexy relationship. All that without going crazy. So that's basically what I do. And the Gentleman's Square is a platform where men can actually come to and get all, the coaching and the guidance, the support, anything like that, that will help them achieve and create a rock solid relationship.
That's simply amazing what you're doing. And we appreciate you coming aboard, sharing the other side of the spectrum to help our brothers out there. Make sure you join her group. It's such a lot of nuggets up there, and trust me, you'll get some tools up there. So please join her group. Absolutely. Now, next coming, absolutely, you're very welcome. And coming back into the DBDS Live studio, he was here before, dropping a lot of gems that definitely can help you obtain and maintain a healthy relationship. My brother Ken, welcome back to DBDS Live.
Hey, glad to be here once again. I'm glad to have Stefania with us tonight. And I know we're going to do what we were born to do. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we have some new viewers coming right into the studio. So tell the people a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and why you're on the show today.
I am a personal development and relationship coach. I have just a short, brief background. I've written 9 books, sold 600,000 books in my life, and I have focused on the area of human development for a long time. How I specifically got into relationships was 14 years ago, and I tell this story that my wife and I were headed to divorce court. And during that time, we just couldn't stand, we just didn't like each other. She didn't like me very much, and I didn't like her very much. And during this time, we came up with, at the height of our hostility and disagreement, we came up with a conflict resolution system that saved our marriage. And not only saved our marriage, that we use for other save relationships, marriages, and we teach it all over. And thus, that's how I started doing what I do today.
Thank you for sharing that journey with us. And man, I need to update my resume. But I appreciate you coming back onto the show, brother.
Thank you.
It's an honor. Yeah. So listen, I believe that feminine women are very attractive, and our goal is to provide wisdom to enhance our sisters' feminine qualities to attract their natural counterparts. So today we're not badgering our sisters. We just want to empower our sisters who want a serious and healthy monogamous relationship. And we believe this topic will point out certain habits that may be counterproductive to get the kind of man that they want. All right. But before we dive deep into this topic, we do have a DBDS Anonymous section where people post their thoughts, their issues, and they look for us for some guidance. So I have my brother Carl read the letter. Take it away, Carl.
DBDS letter. Are there any men that would actually want to be with an alpha type woman? I'm proud to be an alpha type woman, but I feel like I can't win. Either I find men who adore me but aren't my equal, ends up me feeling more like I'm either their mother or coach and like me leading them. Or I find men who are the same as me, but they want girly girls where they can be the dominant one and not threatened by their partner being intelligent and strong-minded. When a man does not lead the way, I want him to lead. When a man does not lead the way, I want him to lead. It frustrates me and I completely lose attraction. I'm a very successful woman who was able to provide, protect, and lead myself, but I have not come across one man who poses the true qualities of an alpha male, one who takes charge, one who's not a yes man. Maybe I should find a way to just be with a lovely guy, even if he doesn't inspire me or excite me. Advice, please. Wondering if I should just give up on relationships.
Well, thank you so much for your letter. No, you shouldn't give up on relationships. And I'm glad you're writing this in because there are some experienced people that can help guide you in the right direction. You should never give up on love. Okay, my sister. So first, I am coming to my sister, Stefania. What advice you have for our sister? How can we help her?
Okay, thank you. I knew you were going to pick me. Why is that? All right. Well, first of all, thank you for writing in that letter and for being courageous enough to actually putting it together and owning the fact that you are an alpha woman. That's wonderful. I think also what you may want to look at, because being an alpha woman doesn't have disadvantages unless you give it the energy of having disadvantages. And it just sounds like, is there any men out there? Well, yes, there are lots of men that would love to have a woman like you, because it seems like you have great attributes, you have great qualities, you're independent, you've got it all together. But sometimes what happens, and I can speak from experience, okay, this is from what I've gone through. And yes, I'm an alpha woman and I am very independent. I know what I want. I know how to get it. But sometimes we have to embrace that part of us and not judge it as such. I found that when I was able to embrace that together with my female energy and love that part of me rather than judge it. Because it sounds like to me that, you know, you're putting all the men in one category. And that can be a little harsh. Like, I want this, I want that, and they're all, you know, maybe pushovers or whatever the terminology that you used. Sometimes we just have to step back and be the observer of what's going on. Observe, where am I in the picture with all this? If I can see so much male alphas out there that I want, why am I attracting these other type of men? Because usually we're attracting what it is that we are focusing on. And ideally, in the without even knowing it, the subconscious mind, there's something there that you are focusing on. And it seems like the weaker male, the beta male, is what you don't want. And as the law of attraction goes, when we attract what we don't want, we attract what it is that we don't want, because simply the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between wanting and not wanting. It just refers to what it is that we're focusing on. So I would suggest is just focus on yourself. Don't worry about what's out there. Step into your passionate, alpha, feminine energy, because I'm sure you have feminine energy, and just put all that energy on yourself, on empowering yourself with that alpha energy, but in a feminine way, if that kind of makes sense.
Okay. Very well said. Feminine way. Feminine always wins. I'm coming to my brother Ken. How can we help our sister? She's reaching out. What insights you have for her?
So what I'm going to say is I'm going to piggyback kind of off what Stefania said, and then I'm going to go in another direction. But she's absolutely right. The law of attraction says like attracts like. Like attracts like. And the reality is she keeps attracting a certain type of guy, right? Because there's something in her that attracts that type of person. If it's the beta male, then her need to dominate that male or to be in charge of that male is what's bringing that person to her. Now, I will say focus, again, think about what you think about. Think about what your thoughts are, your emotions are. That's called metacognition. And what happens is, it wasn't until I began to think about my own thoughts that I was able to change my vibrational frequency, change what I was attracting in my life. But I want to pivot though. So what's another part of it that she's not realizing is kind of what I teach women. I always say this: build your personal brand to attract your ideal man. And the reason I say that is because there's something about her brand. Your brand is who you are, what you do, and what makes you different. There's something about the brand energy, like Stefania was talking about her energy, that is attracting this guy. And she needs to focus on the message she's putting out, because that messaging is attracting that customer. I always say that customer because I use branding, and I think I'm the first coach to use personal branding as it pertains to relationships. And so what I want to do is say, begin focusing on the messaging you're putting out. What am I putting out that is attracting these kinds to me? And reorient the messaging. And I know that may sound easy. It's simple, not easy. But I would just say, what am I putting out? What messages am I putting out? Because the messages that I'm putting out, along with the energy, is attracting those kinds of men.
Very well said. I mean, it sounds like, just to paraphrase what you're stating, and to use this as an analogy, she needs to change that radio frequency to a different channel.
Right, exactly. I love that. And until you change it, it's like once the frequency is out there, anybody on that station, that frequency is going to hear your message. Okay? Until you change the frequency, you cannot attract a different person that's on. You have to, if you're trying to attract somebody on a different frequency, you got to change it. You have to change it.
Deep. Very well said, my brother. I'm coming to my man Carl. Man, what insight you have for our alpha sister?
I agree with a lot of what Stefania said and with a lot of what Ken said. You know, one thing I will tell, and I tell a lot of women this, is alpha men are not attracted to alpha women, and it's no knock.
True.
It's just you because unless you, and again, Stefania said it best, you got to get to that feminine side of yourself with that. So if you're not willing to come out of your alpha way in the relationship, it's not going to work, because two alphas can't lead. Only one person can truly lead a relationship. So now you have two alphas like a ram butting heads in that relationship with one another. So alpha men typically, as you said, you know, you're finding alpha men want a girly girl. It's not to be dominant. It's just so they're able to lead and they're not being challenged in their role. So if I'm going to come home and be challenged, and I'm being challenged all day at work, challenged in the world all day, I don't want to be challenged in my household. You know, a man's looking for peace when he comes home, and he's not getting that in an instance. If you're challenging, you said something else about he's not leading the way you want him to lead. If I'm the leader, you can't tell me how to lead. And that's coming from you and operating in a masculine position of whatever you're doing in corporate America. This is, you want to lead the relationship. You have to allow that man to be able to lead. You know, that's what a lot of women say. They want a man to lead. They want a man to lead, but you can't steer him. You can't sit there and say, okay, we're going to California, and then you keep telling him to go a different route. And he's like, we're going this direction. It doesn't work that way. So you can't turn him and steer him the opposite way of the way you want to go. I always say a lot of women want a man to lead until he's not leading the way you want him to go. And that doesn't work. That actually tears the relationship down. You know, and I'll say this too. You could be an alpha woman. You could be strong. You could have all those ways. You could be independent. You can have all that stuff. Alpha males don't care about that. They really don't. They want a strong woman who's going to support them, but they want a woman who's strong yet soft. I continue to say it. They want a woman who's strong yet soft. And then I will tell men all the time, you got to still speak to that woman's softness. But here's some benefits of being alpha. And this is your attraction, where you can pull from this. 4 benefits. 1, as an alpha woman, it comes to the bedroom. You're going to take an initiative because you do like to be in charge. So most men will appreciate that because you're taking the initiative. I hear enough men saying, I'm tired of taking the initiative. As an alpha woman, you're going to take the initiative. Making plans. You know, as men, got 3 of us on here. We ain't detail oriented on the plans. We just, it's just not our gift. God didn't give it to us. But as an alpha woman, you will be able to take that role. You're going to lead parties, trips, certain things like that. You're going to be able to you lead with that type of area. From a business side of it, you got a man who's wanting to start his own business. You're not going to talk him out of that. You're going to push him. You're going to say, let's do this. And I got his back. He's going to love that. So this is where your alpha trait comes in while you're being feminine and you're motivating him. And something else, even from a children's standpoint of raising children, an alpha woman's going to make sure her children are respectful, they're well kept and well mannered. They're never going to be disrespectful because you're taking accountability because you don't want to look a certain way. You want your children. So that's a plus. All those are pluses of being an alpha woman. It is. So it's taking all that and understanding how do I push my feminine energy to the forefront so that I can attract these alpha males who would want to be with me. But like I said, if you come out initially trying to take the lead with an alpha male, he's going to walk away. And I agree with Ken and Stefania also. Last part is, you're attracting beta men. And a lot of times when you're attracting beta men, these are guys that don't want to lead. These are guys that are content, just being in a relationship. These are guys that, and again, it's nothing wrong. Like I said, everybody's different, but these guys, they're going to love you, almost worship you to a point. They're going to do all this other stuff. And I think it's great, but that's not what you need. Like you said, you want somebody who's going to push you and who's going to motivate you. And truly a beta man's not, so you have to figure out how to get to that feminine energy while still staying as an alpha woman.
Very well said, Carl. One of my sisters gave the analogy of that she's, a dancer. Like she does the tango. She teaches people how to do that, right? And she stated to me that usually when the dance commences, is always the man leading the woman during the dance. She's the one spinning the woman around and lifting her up. And she said if a woman was to lead the dance, it would throw everything off balance. And that's what she explained to me thoroughly. I'm just going to go to some comments right quick. First comment towards my brother Ken.
Awesome, powerful testimony, Ken. That's from Naomi. Proud of you.
Appreciate that. Next one for Stefania.
And then Teresa, she said, love it, not judge it, observe ourselves.
Okay. And of course, our sisters are taking notes. Appreciate that. Listen, my sister, I greatly appreciate your letter. Greatly do. However, I just want to point out that you mentioned that a man, as Carl read, does not lead the way you want him to lead. And it sounds like your masculine energy is your dominant essence, which will, I think, repel your natural counterpart. It also sounds like to me that you won't allow the man the opportunity to leave. And it's at a point that you have to let that steering wheel go. Allow him the opportunity to leave. Because I believe with this mindset is counterproductive to have, because the more masculine you are, the less you feel you need a man. And the less you feel you need a man, the less you'll value a man. And the less you value a man, the less you'll respect the man, and this will push masculine men further away from you. I also believe that this pushes a man away from doing a family dynamic, like a traditional brother. As Ken mentioned before in our prior show, it has to be a balance, because there's nothing wrong with, being strong when you're in survival mode, but you must dial it back when you're looking for a traditional man, because if not, you will continue to attract the kind of man you've been attracting all along. I mean, the brothers without no spines, I call them cupcake brothers, because they're soft. There's no spine. Or the users, or the ones that take advantage of the woman. Or you may end up in one of these mother and child relationships, which means your role is more like a surrogate mother, and his role is more like an adopted son. So my advice would be to reinvent yourself and allow your feminine energy to be the dominant essence. And trust me, you will begin to attract the kind of men you're looking for. Okay. So listen, we greatly appreciate your letter. Before we pivot to the show, let me just pull up this next comment right here.
Naomi said, hyper independence is a trauma response.
Ooh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So listen, it's time to pivot to our show, which I'm pretty excited about. And we're talking about today qualities that will make you less desirable as a woman. Today's show is dedicated to our sisters today. And the first topic we're going to hit on is, and this is very critical to know, being combative and disrespectful. To us men, unconditional respect is our way of being love. So let me go ahead and lay this up right quick. So quality men prefer a woman to give him unconditional respect and to be his peace, his PEACE and his PIECE. The kind of woman who can diffuse negative energy, especially when the weight of the world is on our shoulders. Because the fact remains that no quality man wants to come home to war. Not at all. So first, I'm coming to my brother Ken. What are your thoughts on this particular topic? Oh, you're muted, Ken. There we go.
Okay, sorry about that. I often say, when a man comes home, and I told my wife this one time, we were talking, I said, when we were going through our tough time, I said, the problem wasn't that we were arguing. The problem wasn't that we had conflict. The problem was where it was at. See, the conflict was in my peaceful space, in my sanctuary. When I come home, when a man comes home, he wants that place to be a place of peace, a place that I can recharge, because I expect war outside of my house. I expect to deal with in the workplace. I expect to deal with conflict all around me, and I'm prepared for that emotionally and mentally. The problem happens is when I come home, I'm not really prepared for that. I will go to war if I have to with my spouse or the one I love, but I don't want to. And that's why sometimes men either fight or flight, because some men, if her masculine energy is fighting, he retreats to his cave because he didn't know what to do with that. Some men see that energy, that masculine energy, and he knows I'm supposed to fight. The problem is that the relationship can't grow like that. The relationship cannot thrive in that space. And that space is a space where there's unrest, no peace. And I'm telling you, if a lot of ladies that I coach a whole bunch of women. I say, you will get far more from the man. You will get far more from the man in your feminine state, as we said, and in the peaceful state. You create the peace. You help create the peace for the home that he has to come to, and your influence with him will rise. And this is something that, man, if people could get it, and I get it now, some of the times men contribute to the place being unpeaceful. I get it. But what I'm saying is that feminine energy can really create more peace. And so if a woman would take it upon herself, even when the energy is not right, to say, you know what, this is going to be a place of peace. And that's what my wife did when she actually helped save the marriage. Before we came up with the conflict resolution system, she actually created the place. She says, you know what? I'm not going to argue. Let's go outside the house. She said, listen, I've got to have a peaceful place where we can at least try to solve our problem. So that's my take on it. It's got to be your sanctuary. It's his place of peace. That's super important.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I remember advising one of my sisters before. She was the kind of woman that complained that her man never takes out the trash. And every time he used to come home, she'll be like, take out the goddamn trash. I'll slap you. I told her just reverse it around and just be feminine. And she took my advice. And when he came home, first he came in the door a little upset from work, and she kissed him on the lips. And she was like, hey, babe, I'm going to do the dishes. You don't mind taking out the trash?
That right there.
He took out the trash. Anyway, so I'm coming to my sister, Stefania. What are your thoughts on this particular topic?
Yes, I love it. I love it. Thank you, Ken. Absolutely. What can I say? 100% in what you're saying. I agree totally. And I'd like to add to that, creating a sanctuary, ladies, is so important. Creating that home, that nurturing place that men love to come home to. I didn't mention earlier, but I used to coach women first before I actually moved over to coaching men. And the reason I started coaching men was actually to kind of, bring that gap together between the two. Now, sometimes that can happen where a man can actually come home, he's stressed out, he's got pressures at work, he's got a family on his shoulders, he's got responsibilities, he wants to be the best possible man for you, his children, and everybody, and all that mounts up. Now, when a man does come home, probably a little revved up, a bit more than what he normally is, what I always recommend that the ladies do is take a step back rather than being reactive and start, thinking about me, because a lot of the times these little fires happen because we're thinking about what's in it for me, what is he doing for me, and you're feeling quite needy. Maybe not, but a lot of the times it is. You have got the kids, you've had them all day, and you just want some time out, and you want attention usually from your man. But because he's in this space, he's not unable to give that to you immediately. Okay, so what happens is the woman will react and will start, pulling till that man kind of explodes, or you get combative and you get disrespectful, whatever the case is. My recommendation is always remember that the energy that might be bouncing off that man is not the man you fell in love with. It's only energy that he may be carrying. And so if you can just disassociate yourself for a moment, create an anchor, breathe, and just not be reactive, and just maybe step away, whatever it is that grounds you, and maybe a kiss, turn it around, just snap it around and just grab him, kiss him, do what it is that turns him on to change his state. Because by changing the state, because, women, we do have control like that when it comes to changing states, right? So use your feminine power. And when you can do that, you're going to find 99.9% of the time that energy, his state is going to change just like that. And then you have totally turned the energy around, and you are going to get exactly what it is you desire, but without force, going back to stepping into your female energy and using that power to then, and it's not manipulation, okay? Because you're loving this man. You love him all the time. There's, I'm sure you wouldn't be with him, right? But you are using that energy and you're empowering him. You're respecting him. You're making him feel like you're man, you're God, you're everything. And that's, simply what a man likes to feel. And in return, he will give that back to you. he will fill your love tank just like you want it, overflowing, because you're filling it up. So remember, what it is that you desire and want, you just got to give it. Don't expect to get it and just sit back. He's got to serve me, because it isn't going to happen, ladies. Okay? I love you, but it's just the way it is. And if it is quite steamy, just even walk away, whatever it is that you need to do, but change the state, and you have got the power to do it. I rest my case.
Woo. Very well said. Change the state. It could change things dramatically and diffuse the negative energy. Very well said, my sister. I'm coming to my brother Carl. What is your insight and how critical it is to not be combative and disrespectful? Oh, Carl, you mute.
Got you. Yeah, okay. I don't have to say anything. They Ken and Stefania said it all. I mean, that's that was really point blank on that. But no, seriously though, it's my mom made a comment and said before, and I know when, like I said, when I was going through my marriage before we got divorced, she told my ex, she said, you control the environment. She said, women control the environment in the household. Men don't. Women control that environment. So if you're sitting here and you're immediately he comes through the door, you're attacking him, or this is wrong, this is messed up today, or this all these different things, and he's been out all day coming in, it does affect how he's going to respond. So he feels like, evidently you're not respecting me being at work all day, and I'm coming in and you're throwing this at me immediately coming through the door, not even giving him a chance to breathe, to digest. He might have missed you too. But the first thing out of that is you're doing that. For men feel, I always say, men feel loved, loved when they're respected.
Yes.
The difference. Women feel respected when they feel loved. So for a man, when he's feeling like he's respected, he knows you love him, you care about him. But if you're being disrespectful to him, he doesn't feel that you love him. He doesn't feel that you appreciate what he's doing. It's just along the lines of being combative, arguing back and forth or debating on something. That men don't want to deal with that all day. We deal with that all day. We don't want to deal with that in our household. And Ken said it best, peace. Men reside where there's peace, and it's going to be fight or flight. And here's the thing. I love how Ken was saying that. But as a man, if you're coming at your spouse and this man loves you, he doesn't want to fight with you. And it's really not a fair fight, because he's now looking at you saying, this is the person I love and care for, but you're being disrespectful or combative. And he doesn't want to treat you like he would have to treat somebody else in the street. But that's really where you get upset. And you're like, I can't believe he talked to me that way. But you pushed him there. Where if you were feminine, like everybody saying, a little kiss, a hug, the garbage disposal's not working, the refrigerator's not working, I get that. Let him get through the door and set an atmosphere, the environment of peace, and then have that conversation with him. And he will, I'm telling you, Stefania said it great, he's going to fill your love bank. It's going to overflow. He's going to give you everything you need and nurture you. But just being flat out combative or disrespectful, or feel like you can say what you want or how you want, even if you're both working and you're coming in, it still doesn't give you a right to do that. And I will say the same thing. It doesn't give a man a right to be disrespectful to you either, even in those lines. But, the biggest thing take for me is men love peace. And it takes a lot for a lot of men to want to commit and want to marry. And a man will marry you when he finds somebody he can be a partner with, somebody he can have peace with, and somebody he knows who has his back. If you're combative and disrespectful, he's going to have second doubts and think, maybe I married the wrong person.
Okay. Very well said. So I have a follow-up question for my guest, man. So, I was talking to one sister last week, and she said, in order to add spice to the relationship, you gotta have. She purposely argues with her man. She says she feels like you have to have drama, because if not, the relationship is boring. And she said the man that she's with, he's financially stable. has a great career. He worships the ground she walks on and everything. But she said he's too nice. So she starts the arguments in order to create some spice in the relationship. So she was asking me, what other ways can she spice it if she don't start arguing and badgering him everything? I'll come to my brother Ken. How would you answer that question?
Do you see how I'm looking? You see my look? First of all, let's not be disingenuous here. I mean, what she wants, she may want excitement, but if she feels like arguing is a way that she can get excitement, we need to label that a little bit differently. Maybe what she really needs is stimulation. Okay, and she feels like I can get stimulation from arguing. Okay,
gotcha.
But she doesn't need the arguing necessarily. She needs someone to stimulate her mental and emotional state. I love the whole thing what Stefania was saying, because when I first got into personal development, I learned the whole idea of state, your emotional state of being. And what happens is, the first thing is she needs to figure out what stimulates her. Okay. She thinks it's arguing, but that's not what it is. What it is what she's saying is she wants something to stimulate the way she thinks, her thought process, her emotional process, all of that. And I imagine arguing does that because it's the exact opposite of what she's been doing. However, there's a danger in doing that. There is a danger. Didn't you say the relationship was good? She's got a great guy.
She does.
The problem with that is starting the relationship. What's going to happen? She's going to take away the very thing we just talked about, his peace. And once the peace begins to elude him, evade him, he's going to start withdrawing. And then all of a sudden, the stimuli that she wanted is not going to happen because he's going to be like, I don't want to mess with you at all. So I would be very careful, but she needs to ask the question, what stimuli do I need? It's not arguing that she needs. She just needs more stimuli in the relationship. And I get that part of it.
Gotcha. I'm coming to you, Stefania. The brief description I gave to you to one of my sisters I was helping last week, she said the man she got, he's such an amazing guy. There's no default like he's doing something wrong or anything, but she feels like she has to spice it up by throwing these jabs at him and disrespecting him somewhat. And then they have great makeup sex and so forth, but she does this on purpose. What advice would you give her on other ways that she can stimulate the relationship?
Okay, well, I have to agree with Ken, absolutely. Once again, 100%. What I would add to that is possibly she may just want to look at what it is that she's needing, and not necessarily from him, because we always reach out to the closest people and we attack because it sounds like you've got everything's going for you. He's perfect, he's wonderful, he's loving, sex is great. Why break it? Why sabotage it, right? You maybe, like Ken said, you're wanting something, and whether it's attention, some kind of stimulation, you may want to delve into asking yourself questions. What is it that I need right now?
Gotcha.
What am I not happy about within me? Because you're happy with the relationship, but you're looking for something in him that, again, 99.9% of the time, it's what we need to give to ourselves in order to then be complete in the relationship that we're in, rather than pointing the fingers out, go internal and, have some questions asked. And sometimes that can be hard because when you're in the picture, and you can't look into the picture. You need to step out. And if that's even really hard to do within your own self process, get some help, get some coaching, get some counseling. I always, I don't often recommend to speak to a friend as such, because sometimes a friend knows you. And if you talk to someone that is totally out of the picture, doesn't know you, doesn't know him, they will give you a very, objective, like they're looking at it from, the frame, and will help you step out of the picture and look into the picture. So I would say, look at what it is in you that you desire and that needs to be fulfilled. because we can only fulfill it ourselves. And, there's this, I'm sure you've heard of it. Who was it? Will Smith. I think it was something he was talking about. You just can't make a woman happy. You can't. Whether it's a woman or a man, you can't make anyone else happy. True. You have to find that happiness within yourself. And once you have that happiness, then he's going to gravitate to that. It's going to be like bees to honey. And that's what you want. He will use your being fulfilled and happy and vibrant and joyful and loving is going to want more of you and be in your energy. So yes, that's what and maybe not argue as such. Another way, if you can't afford counseling, the one advice that I would personally give is, rather than turning it into arguments and picking, start being a little bit more curious in a fun, loving way. Yeah. So be curious about what's happening, how he's going, and rather than be argumentative, be curious. The questions you ask are going to be more impactful, and you'll get whatever it is, a little bit of more attention, or whatever it is that you're seeking from that man that's loving you and respecting you and doing the right things.
Yeah, very well said. I mean, sister, you may end up losing a good brother. Before I come to you, Carl, just to get your quick insight, let's go a couple of comments right here from our sister Ariel Jones.
Ariel said, "That's awful."
Yeah,
we're talking about that she's arguing with that. Yeah. Naomi said, "The way she hollered, looking at Ken, came with your facial expression."
Okay. Next one from a lovely, beautiful Betsy.
Betsy said she likes the makeup part of it. Maybe that's how she gets affection from him.
Okay. That could be very well said. Okay. Next one.
Ariel, she said, unless there is some sort of mutual agreement, it's abusive and will create resentment and hurt feelings. Absolutely.
And one last comment from Ariel.
You can't fill anyone's cup of yours. If you can't fill anyone's cup if yours is not filled. Absolutely.
So, Carl, I mean, based on what I stated, what is your insight, on the lady I know it's crazy.
It is. And I guess the thing for me is just, why would you want to start an argument? Why would you want to destroy your peace in your household? Why would you want to put yourself in a position that this man decides to pack up and leave, or pack you up and put you out? And again, I know this is kind of extreme, but that's what you're doing. You seem to have things going a good direction, and you're pushing it another way to get some types of things. So I go back to what Stefania said. What are you lacking? And the question I ask is why are you doing it? Not just what you need, but why are you doing it? And if it's what Betsy said, if it's because, the makeup, affection, if you're lacking affection in a relationship, then that's a conversation you can have. You don't have to go and create a false narrative to get something, because if you're creating a false narrative to get something, it'll never be real. It'll always be fake. It will never be real. Wow. That's what I'm saying. If you're creating a false narrative to get what you want, it'll never be real what you're getting. It'll just be temporary, and it'll go away. So, the thing for me is, definitely look at where your needs are at. What, do you have needs that are not being met? That's a conversation you can simply have. And then why are you creating this type of atmosphere that I would say 99.999% of people would say they don't want that atmosphere in their household, in the midst of their relationship or their marriage? You're creating something that's the oxymoron of what most people want. So definitely take a look at that. I always call it a mirror check. Go look in the mirror. It's the toughest thing for many of us to do. We don't like to look and see what's staring back at us. We don't want to see the demon looking back at us. But, are you creating something for you, which is selfish, that in turn turns around and destroys everything that you guys have built together?
Whew. Very well said, my brother. And just for those hot follow-up answers, nuggets from all my guests. Listen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to touch on one last topic. This is DBDS Live. Sit tight. Hey, welcome back to DBDS Live. I'm here with my sister Stefania, my brother Ken, and my brother Carl. And listen, we just been talking about the qualities that will make you less desirable as a woman, and want to keep this topic going. Before we go to the next topic, I just want to squeeze in a couple of more comments related to that follow-up question.
So, Blake said, I think she's more so looking for the adrenaline rush. In the past experiences, these actions probably helped her feel loved. He's giving her everything, sad to say, but maybe that's boring for her in contrast to her past. Yeah, her past experience she's had.
Very true. Another one for Betsy.
And Betsy, she said, but this man is staying in that kind of relationship. He's no better because he's still there.
Point. Very good perspective. Love that. That could be a show of itself. So we're going to go ahead and continue with our show right quick. The next subtopic that I'm going to hit on is allowing your status to bring you out of your femininity. Man, I always state that character always comes first before money, before popularity. So let me just lay this up right quick. So listen, I love the fact that over the years, our women have stood up for their rights as equal citizens or relations to men. Listen, our sisters out there, they're thriving with their own businesses, head of huge companies, and so much more. However, I believe when a woman allows her status to overrun and downgrade a quality man who, of course, is financially stable or he's a good man, this will shrink her dating pool and she may miss the opportunity to build with a quality man. Right. So I'm coming to my brother Ken. What are your thoughts on this particular topic?
I think because society has created this whole image or projected this image of what success looks like. And granted, women are making money. They are taking positions, and rightly so. There are women out there who are brilliant. Okay. But it goes back to what we've been talking about. The problem, though, is because that many of them have had to assume this masculine energy to work in these places, to ascend up that corporate ladder, to do whatever they wanted to do, or financially. And that was great. But like I always say, we all have, men and women both have masculine and feminine energy. The key, and I've said it before, Melly Mel, is balance. If I'm out there all day, if I'm a female out there all day and I'm walking this masculine energy, I'm making shit happen, I'm rising up this corporate ladder, I'm doing my thing, and then I come home and I don't know how to balance that, and I still think that my husband is I got to tell him what to do too. Then what happens is it becomes a situation where then you realize, darn, many of them don't even realize that they have not turned it on. And so the problem is balance of it all. And many of them have not been taught. Because think about it. If you're in the corporate world and you have gained success, or not just, you could be an entrepreneur, but you've gained success. And this energy that I've gained has been successful for me. I've done well with it. And so let me take it over here too. And I assume that I'll do well over here. However, the same energy that I needed to climb this ladder and be successful is the exact opposite energy that I'm going to need to be successful in this arena. And that's the problem. It's just they haven't been balanced.
Woo. Okay. When it transcends to the household, to that arena, you have to change the state, as Stefania stated. I'm coming to my sister, Stefania. What are your thoughts on this topic?
Yes, absolutely. I agree. I'm agreeing with everything you say, Ken. How about that?
We're going to make a great team. We're going
on the other side of the world.
So I think just to add on to that, absolutely great tips. What I can suggest to you ladies, again, coming from a woman that has experienced this, look at your role at work, in your corporate world, whatever it is, your business, your entrepreneurship. It's just a role. It's not who you are.
Wow.
You take the clothes off, you take the badge off, whatever it is that you identify yourself to, that status is not who you are. When you can understand that, realize that, and embody that, then you'll come to understand then who you really are. So if you can look at it a bit like actors and actresses, you know, when they're on the set, that's their role. That's what they've got to do. They're performing, they're making things happen on the set. When they're off that set, they are them. They are the real character of who they are. So the same thing applies to coming home. Become who you really are, who you stand for. I am loving. I am adorable. I am affectionate. I am affirmations. If that really helps, you can incorporate that. You aren't a entrepreneur. That's what you do. You a businesswoman. That is what you do. It's not who you are. And if you can get your head around that, you can have that balance that Ken is talking about of being, a strong leader in your environment of work and a nurturing, loving, strong, empowering woman at home. Because remember, you can use some of those nuggets that you use at work, but to empower your man at home, not to strip him to bits and leave him like hanging. Yeah, that's what I would recommend.
Woo. Man. So I'm going to come to that's very well said. I'm going to come to my brother Carl, but also, and I'll come around to our other guests as well. I'll pull up this question right quick, and I also want you to chime in on that particular topic, Carl. So here's a question from one of our viewers.
Yeah, I saw that. I agree totally with Ken and Stefania what they were saying. Just a suggestion to women. Well, let me do this point and then come back to a suggestion. Like I said again, gotcha. I know some women who are corporate America executives, 200,000+ a year, but operate in their femininity almost all the time. I won't say 24/7 because nobody operates in that one energy all the time. But they operate in that, even in their corporate world. Some of them are the only females on the executive team or boards, and they choose to operate in their femininity. And then they bring it back home. So they're in that consciousness on a regular basis. And they actually say when they try to act masculine, they didn't get the work done that needed to get done. Those around them wanting to do the work. But when they operate in their femininity energy, they got the work done. And they've gone up the corporate ladder. And it's not about them being a pushover or over feminine. It's not, so that's something there, just to think about. They chose to stay in their femininity and they understand which works best for them to get things done. And it's the same thing at home. If you operate in your masculinity, you're not going to get the results you want at home. Stefania said it's a role. So you need to understand which role. A suggestion, you might want to take that time on your way home if you're working, these hours and doing different things. Watch what you're feeding yourself when you're driving home. Are you on the phone with your girlfriend and she's talking about what she's going through in her relationship and her home and how she got to lead and all the stuff? Are you talking to someone from work? What are you feeding yourself? Not allowing that energy to come down so you can operate in your feminine energy when you get home. Are you listening to something motivational that'll push you closer to your feminine side? So just a suggestion to throw that out there. And then as far as the question is concerned, it says, is it possible for a woman to be too feminine? Is that even a thing? I don't think so. I don't think you can be overly feminine. Just as a man can't be overly masculine, and I think sometimes we get confused with man being really masculine is controlling is two different worlds. Right. So I don't think a man can be overly masculine. I don't think a woman can be overly feminine. To the end all be all what we're talking about. I don't know. Maybe the more feminine a woman is, and again, I'll leave this to Ken and Stefania, really what their points would be. But I think as a woman's more feminine, it opens up more opportunity or more options, especially if you're dating. It opens up your dating pool.
Gotcha.
Because you're further from the masculine spectrum side of things. You're back this way, and that's going to open up. So again, if you're here, you're going to have this much dating pool, but if you're back this direction, you're going to have this entire dating pool to choose from.
Okay. We appreciate everyone hanging with us. We went over just a minute, and so we'll continue. I'm coming to my brother Ken with that particular question. Is it possible for a woman to be too feminine? I mean, is that even a thing, as our viewer is asking?
I think what we're doing is we're conflating feminine with weak.
Gotcha.
And I think that's the problem. No, it's not possible to be too feminine, but I know feminine women who are not weak. All right. And so what happens is people have taken the word feminine and they've merged them with the word pushover, the word weak, the word, and so the truth is, no, feminine, you can be feminine without being weak or a pushover. And so I think we don't need to intertwine those two words. When you separate them, absolutely, it's not. You can be plenty feminine. There is no too feminine, but you don't have to be weak. There are feminine women who are very strong, who are steadfast. They believe in what they believe in. They're not no pushover. And so from that perspective, absolutely no. From that perspective.
Okay. To you, Stefania, I mean, is it possible for women to be too feminine?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Again, Ken, I have to agree with you.
You're making me feel great. Thank you, Stefania.
Okay.
You are just taking the words out of my mouth. All right. So I just want to add to that. I think, was it Vil, the lady that was stating that?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Don't.
Reading in between the lines, I think you are getting mistaken with too feminine with being too weak. It's very clear there. And I would probably have a look at what your boundaries are. What are your core values? What are you putting in place so you aren't coming across and feeling weak and getting that mistaken with feminine, because that's totally two different things. Something we spoke about with Carl and Trammell last week was creating a personal policy. Check in on your personal policy. What is a personal policy? What are your moral codes? What are your boundaries? Review them. Remind yourself, and still be in your feminine energy, but put your personal policy in place. So that's what I have to say.
All right. This show's fire. So I'm gonna just get a few more comments. Then we're gonna take one last commercial break we'll go to our Jerry Springer moment. Let's go one from Betsy. She's killing it today, Bets.
She said that's the problem with some of us. We have to separate the work life from work life. They are two totally separate lives.
Absolutely.
And then
Naomi.
Naomi said, I think some men focus on my role, career more than I do. I just do me. They think it's this huge big deal. Could it be a narrative that they are creating in their own head?
And I'll take one more comment right quick from Muriel.
She said, I was raised in an old school ideology that women are subservient to men.
Okay.
She said, what I mean mostly is, are there instances where a man wants you to display masculine energy other than the four stated earlier? Okay, from what I said earlier on that, I'll respond back. Yeah, I'll respond.
Yes, you can. All right. So listen, we're going to take one last commercial break. And when we come back, that's right, it is our Jerry Springer moment. So sit tight. This is DBDS Live. We'll be right back.
So many people are calling for police reform. And so because they're calling for police reform, they may not understand that there are many organizations who are already responding.
And I feel like you have to really get to know people, see if they share the same core values as you before you get involved with them.
I want to ask a question as to how we got to this place right here, where mask wearing, where COVID-19, where public health is all politicized. I really want you all to think about this. How did we get to this particular point?
It's really a nice balance when femininity and masculinity can mix together and just create this awesome, experience.
Hey, welcome back to the DBDS Live studio. I'm here with my sister Stefania, my brother Ken, my DBDS brother Carl. And listen, we've just been dropping gems. And listen, if you want to get more of these episodes, entertaining, get educational perspectives, make sure you check us out on YouTube, DBDS Live. Just make sure you subscribe to that channel so you can get notified when we have these fierce conversations. And if you can't catch us visually, don't worry, we got you. You know, if you're in the gym working out or in your car driving home, or on Amazon Music, Podbean, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, so you can check us out there. So with that being said, it is that time for our Jerry Springer moment. And first, I am coming to my sister Stefania. Share your final thoughts to the people.
Our final thoughts. Okay, I thought we had another segment we're going to cover. No?
Well, since we're out of time.
Okay. That's okay.
If we continue, we'll be another 2 hours. I mean, it's a great topic.
Right. I know, we just love talking. All right. So, ladies, what is it I've got to suggest? How to be more attractive and less desirable, right? Not to be less desirable as a woman. Okay. So step into your feminine power. Step into your greatness. Focus on yourselves, ladies. Number one, love yourselves. And it doesn't mean you have to be, setting up these walls in the interim, because sometimes that's taken too far where you're doing your own thing, but then you've got Fort Knox put up all around you. Be open. Be open to love while you're loving yourself. And also honor yourself and really focus on what kind of energy you want to bring into a relationship, whether you're already in a relationship. What's the energy you want to create? If you know the energy, you feel it, you meditate upon it, well, then you're going to step into it, which means you're going to start acting in that energy, which is then going to create that state for you. And if you're single, looking for a relationship, wanting to build a rock solid relationship with the man of your dreams, prepare yourself for it. Stop looking exterior on what you don't want. Focus on what it is that you desire and how you want to feel in that relationship.
All right. Very well said. Appreciate your final thoughts for our show. And please join her group, the Gentleman's Square. All right. Now I'm coming to my brother, Ken. What are your final thoughts for today's show?
My final thoughts for today's show is simply this. Men are not the villain and women are not the victim. What we do is many times we always want to make someone else the villain. Because if they're the villain, then I can be the victim. Listen, many of us are not, you aren't responsible for your pain. Let's be honest. But you are responsible for your healing. And so what I tell people is this: start being victorious and stop looking at people as though they're the villain and you're the victim. When you stop doing that part of it, you become victorious. You change your energy, you change your vibrational frequency, and you begin changing the things that you bring into your life.
Woo. Very well said, my brother. Very powerful. Appreciate that. And now I'm coming to my DBDS brother, Carl. What are your final thoughts for today's show?
I can't take the words out of my mouth, really, what I wanted to say. That victim to victorious mentality, but you only get there when you take accountability and you stop judging people off your past relationships. And I think that's where a lot of times we come into something. So for ladies, if you've had to, and again, we all are defined by our past, but we can control our present and where we're in. So if we stop looking at the future, stop looking at our past, and deal with the present, we put ourselves in a better position. So if you had to argue in your past relationships, it doesn't mean you have to argue with the new man that you're with. If you had to take the lead in your past relationships, it doesn't mean you have to take the lead with this guy. It's about opportunity and giving them to do things, but that comes from you operating again in your feminine energy, your feminine role, self with that, and being willing to do that and trust. And see, you can't trust till you heal, and you gotta be whole. I tell people all the time, you gotta be whole going into a relationship. And if you're in a relationship now and you're not whole, it's not going to bode well. But I'll never say it's too late. You just have to work on that stance. So take a look in the mirror. And it's this old adage we always say: treat people the way you want to be treated. It's just that simple. If you don't want somebody yelling and being combative and disrespectful to you, don't do the same thing to them. If you don't want somebody throwing their status in your face, then don't throw yours in theirs. Those are two of the things we talked about. So when you operate where you're supposed to be operating and you're respecting people, I'm telling you, you're going to attract, I say it all the time, femininity always wins. There's two other men sitting on this program, and they're going to nod their head when I say this. When we see a feminine woman, it makes our blood pressure go up in a good way. That's how I'm going to deal with that.
Woo. And before I provide you with my final thoughts, I just want to thank this amazing panel. What a killer show. Appreciate Stefania as well as Ken coming on. My DBDS brother Carl always dropping nuggets. What a fire show. Also want to give a special shout out to my sister Gianni, who will be coming back on the show very shortly. My sister Nicole Marie, my sister Jess, my brother Mo, his wife Gina, as well as Dr. Peggy. You're coming back on. And a special shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Kelsey that have been married over 40 years. So thank you for demonstrating how beautiful marriage is. So my final thoughts is: a man will seek out the company of a woman who encourages him to be a man and allows him to give fulfilling masculine around her, which means you must possess the qualities that will make you a more desirable woman. When you show respect, express your feelings in a feminine manner, and hold yourself accountable related to growth, you will more than likely attract the kind of man you are looking for. All right. So once again, I want to thank this amazing panel and much love to the DBDS family.
Take it away, Mel.
Hey, Stefania, let's connect. I'm going to reach out to you.